What is up, you guys? Glitchiz here, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be bringing you my Get Warm Quick video guide, going over everything you need to know to reach max frost resistance. In this first phase, it's going to be very important. I'll probably make another video down the line here once more phases unlock, going over how to get max heat resistance and maybe a good balance of both once we get to endgame. But for now, frost resistance is the main thing that we're going to be aiming for. But before we jump into the details, I have to give a big shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and that is Instant Gaming. For those of you that don't know, Instant Gaming is a killer website that gives you huge discounts on all your digital game purchases. How it works is they buy all of their keys straight from the source, so you never have to worry about them being a scam or your CD keys not working. They have a near flawless rating with Trustpilot, and on top of having almost all of your favorite games across every major platform, they also offer pay cards for your favorite in-game currencies like V-Bucks, paid game cards for your favorite in-game wallets like the Steam wallet, for example, as well as monthly subscription cards at discounted rates for your favorite MMOs like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy. So if you want to start saving a ton of money on your future digital game purchases, I recommend checking the first link down in the description and heading over to the website and checking them out. Also, as part of my partnership with Instant Gaming, we're hosting a special giveaway each month, and at the end of those months, one lucky winner is going to be chosen, and you will be able to pick a game of your choosing from the website. So big incentive to check it out, and all you have to do to enter is click the second link down in the description and just hit one button. You will have the option to hit a few more buttons after that to increase your chances of winning, but that's totally up to you. But definitely go check it out. I personally use it for all of my digital game purchases now. I almost never buy physical copies, so it's a great place to start saving money. And thanks again, Instant Gaming, for sponsoring the video. Without any further ado, let's jump into it. So there's only a couple things really that you need to do to hit max frost resistance. It's actually a lot easier than you would think, and that is to use special crafting materials on your gear. Now, the two armor pieces that you're going to want to focus on are the jacket and the pants. Those are the two armor pieces that focus on your temperature resistance. And the thing that we're going to be gunning for is velvet. For those of you that don't know, when you go to the crafting armor table now and go to any piece of gear, there's a new selectable option to put a type of animal hide in there. And if you don't know, the velvet is going to be the best one possible for the jacket and pants. It gives you, I probably should go over to the jacket and pants to show it off better, but it gives you plus 15% cold resist, if we scroll down here, and plus 150% cold resist duration when dampened, which means whenever you're wet or swimming, which can get you colder faster as well. So the velvet is what we're going to be gunning for. And to make velvet, you're going to need feathers. Now, this took a little while to figure out a good place to get feathers. I was running around the edges of oceans and things like that, killing pelicans and birds and whatnot, and I just wasn't finding them fast enough. And you need 5 of them each to basically get one velvet. So if it takes 3 velvets to make one piece of armor for that max resistance, we're going to need 30 feathers in total. So I wanted to find a place that had a quick farm for feathers in general, and I found the perfect location. It is actually going to be right here in the Wishland Eastern Park, in the back area by the zoo. They have a flamingo pen. So the quickest way to get there that I have found is by going to this teleporter here. So I'm going to teleport there, drive over, and I'll probably just do a quick little time lapse of it and just follow the route that I take. And I'll get back to you guys as soon as we reach the location. All right, so we're pretty much here at the location. You just want to pull right up onto these rocks, and that will take you right to the back of the amusement park where the flamingo den is. So you can just glide across from this little platform here. And unfortunately, it looks like we don't have any flamingos here at the moment. This is becoming a very popular spot to farm these quickly. Let's go down here, see if we've got one here. We've got one in the boats. We can go ahead and snag that one. But there should be like 10 plus flamingos in here when they're fully spawned, and they're on a 5-minute respawn. So if we just wait a couple seconds here, we should be able to get a bunch more. But we can go ahead and skin the flamingo. And as you see, we've got a feather. And basically where they spawn, one is going to spawn right on that boat. Another one can spawn up top where we first glided in. It's going to be right in this top area here. You should see a flamingo right in this area. And then if you drop down into this section, all along this underground platform, a bunch more flamingos will spawn. See, so we have already got one starting to come back. They respawn pretty quickly. Alright, so it looks like we're starting to get some respawns in. Here's the one that spawns on the top floor. We can go ahead and skin this one. But then if you drop down here, like I was mentioning before, you should start seeing a bunch more. I'm not sure how many will be respawned at this point. There's usually 2 or 3 along this little catwalk, and then on the back side there's a bunch more. Here we go. We got some spawning back here. Where's 1, 2, 3, 4. All these guys are going to be giving us feathers. So you're basically going to want to do that 5-minute refresh a couple times until you get 30 feathers total. That will be enough to make the 6 velvets that we need basically for our armor. So we can go ahead and skin these last few. That should give us enough. And then you're going to want to go back to base and craft your gear. Alright, so we're back at base. We've got all of our feathers that we need to make our velvet. To craft the velvet, you would just go to your supplies workbench. It's going to be here. You're going to need to unlock, if you haven't already, the mimetic in the, I believe it's, where is it here? Crafting section. It's called leatherworking. That will allow you to make the velvet. And then once you get that, you can craft it at the bench for 5 feathers each. We can go ahead and just craft the 2 of these because that's pretty much all we're going to be using the feathers for. I may have enough already, but then you want to go to your crafting bench. Say we go to our chest piece. I want to upgrade my chest piece. Go over here. And make sure that under the hide section, you select velvet. And before I do that, you'll notice that I have 2 tier 2 pieces on right now for my chest and pants that have seal skin on them. And if you look at the temperature gauge underneath the mini map, we have a nice little cushion of cold resist, but it's not maxed out. We still have some blue that can potentially lead us into some colder temperatures and get hypothermia. Ideally, we want to max that out. And using the seal skins only gives you 10. The feathers and velvet will give you 15, which is going to be a lot better. So we can go ahead and craft the velvet. I've actually already gotten 1 piece of the tier 3 already crafted for my pants. So we can go ahead and switch to that. That was made with velvet. So if we look at the thing now, you can see that we've made a big jump to our temperature bar in the top right. So with just this last piece alone, that should get us to max. So we can go ahead, craft the black stone set. Make sure that we select velvet. Cold resist. That will give us plus 15% cold resist and frost resist. We can go ahead and craft. And equipped. And then boom, just like that, as you can see, the new gauge on the temperature underneath the minimap now has comfy temperature rating all the way to max for frost and cold resistance. So realistically, as long as you're using the velvet with just 2 pieces, your chest and your pants, using velvet, you should have max frost resistance. Now, if you want to mix and match and have a little bit of heat, a little bit of frost for later on, as well as just use different pieces of gear, maybe you don't have the time to go get the feathers, there is a few other things that I want to quickly point out that'll give you some additional frost resist. And one is going to be helium. So you unlock this in the Memetics tree. You can go to the Memetics Cradle, and right here under the very first tab, Infrastructure, you have Polar Expedition 1. This will unlock Thermoium, Helium, and Coldium. Helium is what we're going to want to give us an extra 10 resist to cold and frost resistance. And all you got to do, once you get that Memetic, is craft up a couple Thermium, and then Helium will take 3 Thermium and a couple charcoal, only 20 charcoal. So you can go ahead and craft one of those. And this is basically a one-off consumable item that just passively sits in your backpack and lasts for 1 hour. So you can craft a bunch of these up at a time and just let them sit in the finished section of your crafting bench. So whenever you need one, you can just pull it out and it'll be ready to go. But once this is done, you would just put that in your backpack and that would give you 10 cold resistance. So that's another thing you could do. You can also obviously make your chaos lantern. Realistically, you're not going to need that until it gets a little bit more extreme, but that is another option you can do that you would unlock in the mimetics tree. And then the last thing that I wanted to show off, besides eating foods and the obvious stuff, is for the black stone set in particular. You'll notice that no other set has 2 options for selectable gear, but the Blackstone set has 2. You can replace the hides on it, but you can also replace the option for Stardust and instead use either hot rock ore or cold crystal ore. And this will actually give 2 bonuses, which are pretty nice. By default, the one-piece bonus set for the Blackstone set gives cold and heat resistance plus 2.5. However, if instead of using Stardust Source, you use a hot rock ore, for example, that will give plus 5 heat resistance. And then same thing for the cold crystal ore, that will give plus 5 cold resistance. So I recommend, depending on your area, using the cold crystal ore or hot rock ore to get at least a one-piece bonus with the Blackstone set. And I only say that not just for the cold resist bonus, but also if you scroll all the way down, when using the hot rock or cold rock ore instead of Stardust Source, not only does it increase the resistance, but you get this extra cool sense or passion sense, which says it replaces existing gear effects, which is your normal status bonus, with a huge elemental damage bonus under high temperature conditions, or vice versa. It could be cold temperature conditions, depending on what stone you use. So there is builds that I want to potentially test out later on. I'm not sure how much that huge damage bonus is, but if it's better than using the key item gloves, for example, for like a frost build, then you may want to run 2-piece Blackstone with hot rock or cold crystal ore as the craftable material, and it may potentially do more damage. So you're actually getting 2 bonuses when using these special ores. You're getting the elemental damage bonus and an increase to your resistance. The final thing, which is going to be based off mimetic specializations, is a new tactical item called the Snowmobile. Enhanced Snowmobile. Well, you can get the Snowmobile by default, but there's a secondary specialization as well that allows you to create gold versions of the hot rock ore and cold crystal ore and make them into fancier, bigger crystals. And if you use those crystals when crafting the snowmobile, it'll actually get enhanced and become the enhanced snowmobile. And what this does is, by default, that will give you another 10% cold resist to your build, which makes you even more resistant, but it will increase your movement in snow and increase speed when running through blizzards. And then if you use the enhanced crystals using the second mimetic specialization, it gets an added bonus where it also will reduce the stamina consumption while rolling, running, and melee swinging as well when you have this in your backpack. So between those 3 things, you are good to go in the cold. Like I said, I'll probably make another video that focuses more on heat, and then probably one that's balanced between both for the late game. But realistically, if all you're worried about is just cold temperature, if you can get those 30 feathers and create the 6 velvet to use for your chest piece and your legs, those 2 armor pieces alone should be enough to get you to max frost and cold resistance, and you won't have to worry about any temperatures through the entire first phase of the game, which is super handy. So yeah, that is the guide. Hopefully it helped you guys out. If it did, be sure to smash that like button, comment down below. I appreciate all of your guys' feedback. Also, if you want to keep up to date with my future content, consider subscribing and turn on that notification bell. And last but not least, if you want to join a killer community of like-minded gamers, feel free to check the links down below the instant gaming links and join us on the Discord. We've got over 1,000 members in there now, many of which are playing Once Human. So hopefully you jump in and we see you guys around here soon. But until the next one, hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see you all later.